Dear children, everything in our environment which can be used to satisfy our need is called a resource. For example, we drink water, so water is a resource. We eat food grains, we inhale oxygen. So here food grains and oxygen are resources. So everything that satisfy our need is called a resource. Students, I know you read about resources in your 7th and 8th standard, but in 10th standard, we will learn this definition in a comprehensive way. As you see on my screen, that resources should be technologically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable. What is the meaning of all these terms? Resources should be technologically accessible. For this, I'm giving you an example. You know that gold is a resource for you, but when it will be a resource? When you have a technology to extract it and you will use it in a pure gold form from raw material. So we can say that it is technologically accessible. Now the second is economically feasible. A resource should be economically feasible. For example, like you are extracting gold and the extraction cost of this is 50 lakh, but the gold that you extract is worth only 50,000. So in this way, we can see that economic input is more than the economic output. Now the third dimension is that resources should be culturally acceptable. It should be considered as a resource by our society. I mean, it is accepted by our society. So this is the complete definition of resource. Now we will see interdependent relationship between nature, technology, and institutions. Students, human beings interact with nature. As you can see in diagram on the screen, that human beings interact with nature through technology and create institutions to accelerate their economic development. Student, for this, I'm again giving you an example. We are extracting gold or iron. At this time, we are interacting with our physical environment with the help of technology and create industry. For example, mining industry, rubber plantation create rubber industry. Thus, all of these are creating resources for us. Children, what do you think, that resources are the free gifts of nature? No. Childrens, they are not. Resources are a function of human activity. They transform material available in our environment into resources and use them. Resources can be classified in the following ways that you can see on the screen, that on the basis of origin, on the basis of exhaustibility, on the basis of ownership, and on the basis of development. Student, on the basis of origin, resources can be divided into two parts, biotic resource and abiotic, and on the base of exhaustibility, renewable and non-renewable resources, and on the basis of ownership, individual resources, community resources, national resources, and international resources, and on the basis of status of development, resources can be divided into potential resources, developed, stock, and reserves. Student, first of all, we will talk about the resources on the basis of origin. On the basis of origin, resources can be classified into biotic resource and abiotic resource. Biotic resource, they have life and obtained from biosphere. For example, human being, flora, fauna, fisheries, livestock, etc. And abiotic resources composed of non-living things. For example, rock, metals, etc. We can see easily the difference between biotic and abiotic in this picture. In this picture, student, you can see that biotic resources are like plants and abiotic are land and water. On the basis of exhaustibility, we can classify the resources in renewable resources and non-renewable resources. Student, renewable resources which can be renewed or reproduced by physical, chemical or mechanical processes. For example, solar and wind energy, water, forest and wildlife, etc. Non-renewable resources, these occur over a very long geological time. Minerals and fossil fuels are examples of such resources. These resources take millions of years in their formation. Some of these resources, like metals, are recyclable, and some, like fossil fuels, cannot be recycled and get exhausted with their use. You can see the example of renewable and non-renewable resources. Renewable, solar energy, biomass energy, wind energy, geothermal energy, etc. And non-renewable resources, fossil fuels, coal, nuclear energy, and natural gas. And now, on the basis of ownership, we can classify the resources into individual resources, national resources, community owned resources, and international resources. Individual resources. Resources owned by individual is called individual resources. Students, like your house, your bike, farmers own land, etc. And community resources, resources which are accessible to all the member of the community is called community resources. For example, in village, grazing ground, village ponds, etc. And in urban area, public park, playground, etc. National resources. Technically, all the resources belonging to the nation are national resources. The country has legal powers to acquire even private property for public good. You might have seen roads, canals, railways being constructed on fields owned by some individuals. All the minerals, water, wildlife, forest, and the land within the political boundaries and oceanic areas up to 12 nautical miles mean 22.4 kilometer from the coast, termed as territorial water, and resources therein belong to the nation. And now the last, international resources are regulated by certain international institutions. These include the oceanic resources beyond 200 nautical miles of the exclusive economic zone, which belong to the open ocean, and no individual country can utilize these without the concurrence of international institutions. India had to obtain the right to mine manganese nodules from the bed of the Indian Ocean from an area which lies beyond the exclusive economic zone. Here you can see the example of on the basis of ownership, like individual house, and the if we will talk about community, this is a park, that is a community resource, and the railway is a national resource, and the international resource that you can see